What? Who?
I come to share with you your fate.
What?
Come see. This is your fate. This fate will come upon you this very morning. Now go. Meet your fate.
Wait. So all I have to do to avoid getting struck by lightning this morning is not go outside. So I'm just gonna go to the office and edit a video. What the? What's going on?
You cannot escape it. It is your fate.
Well, you said that I'd get struck by lightning this very morning. So, as long as I held off till the afternoon, I've thwarted fate.
That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. You cannot escape your fate.
I can keep this up all morning! 12:01 p.m. What time is it? Oh, hey, it's not morning anymore. I've defied fate. So can you even really say that you're the arbiter of fate? Let's see who you really are. Ha! Oh. I don't know why I thought that would make a difference. Oh, what's this? I can see people's fates. And I can see your fate. Take a look.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake. This channel is called Jake of All Trades, and this is my third time trying to record this intro because of all the little mishaps that have been going on. Like, I almost got through it just before, and then the sun came out and completely screwed up the focus on the camera, and so, like, everything went dark, and it was weird. So anyway, I guess it's fate that I have to do this again, and fate that I am doing the reaction that I'm doing this week, and if you haven't guessed it already, it's Fate by Band-Maid. So I'm really glad I pushed off recording this a few days after I originally meant to. I was gonna record this the day after my last Band-Maid reaction went live, and then I counted the vote totals, and it was so close. I'm like, I'd be tempting fate to like pick out the winner here, and then, you know, have someone else comment in and like, have another one beat out the one I was gonna do. So to give you an idea, Alone had 34 votes, Bubble had 36 votes, Don't Let Me Down had 35 votes, Thrill had 36 votes, YYY had 37 votes, and then the top two, Awkward at 43 and Unfair Game at 44. So it would have been awkward if I had done Unfair Game, because this is an unfair game, and people hyper comment all the time, and it would have been awkward if I started doing Unfair Game, and then all of a sudden I get a hyper comment spree coming in, and then all of a sudden I have to do something else or scrap whatever I was doing in the first place. So glad I waited, and fate shifted and led me to fate. What's also awkward is that I had to come back later in the day because I realized that in my third take on that video, I did not state two of the songs that were in the running there, one of which I ended up doing for the video today. One was Take Me Higher at 38 votes, and then Fate, which was at 39 votes. Okay, back to Jake from about 4 hours ago. Because Gary Holloway and Physics the Masters of Fate. I don't know how many jokes I'm going to try to, cringy jokes I'm going to try to say about this. They came in and swung fate in the direction that I am currently going in. So, there are probably more votes that will come in after I record this, so I will call in Future Jake after I give all the shout-outs that I currently have. So we have BM for Life, Brandy Dynamite with 2 votes, Curtis R. Robles with 10 votes, Gary Holloway with 37 votes, and that's not including his doppelgangers, which I will get to, but these are in alphabetical order, so I'll get there when I get there. Jeff B5, Greylock 100 with 2 votes, Halloween Clown, Gary, JK Kansas Band with 2 votes, Jonas S, Mikoto, P&D Squared, Parker, Robert, Snowdog with 3 votes. This one made me laugh. Still Gary Holloway. No joke, that is literally his name. Tef Physics with 10 votes, Tom Clark with 2 votes, and Vegeta Rabbit. So that's it for what I had currently, but I will call in Future Jake because I am sure I am going to get some more comments between the time I'm recording the intro here and the time that this actually goes live. So Future Jake, how many more comments were added since I recorded this?
Well, so Fate originally had 39 votes and went up to 79 due to the hyper commenting. And then since you recorded this, Gary Holloway added 10 more votes, Tef Physics added 10 more votes, and Parker added 1 more vote, bringing the total up to a nice even 100 votes. All right, I gotta run from the TVA. All right, see ya.
Cool. All right, so I think that does it for this introduction. So without further ado, I'm going to start off by going to P&D Squared's Collage of Fate, and then after that I will get into the live version. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so again, we're starting with Fate, P&D Squared's photo collage. Here we go. Ooh. Groovy. Heavy and groovy. Alright. Nice. I like all these live shots that she included. Ooh. I love the fullness of that first chord in the chorus. So many twists and turns in this already. Oh, let's play through the hay. Hey, there it is. I can pick up on trends. Ooh, I like that bench harmonic. I Band-Maid just throws me off all the time. I was expecting that to be a little bit more beefy. Back into that whole chorus. Ooh, that was a change. I missed that one. Man, that was... There's so much to dissect there. So much to dissect there. All right, so I was definitely quite quiet for the last one because it's quite a lot to process. So this the post reaction is going to be very in depth. Here we go. Even when Band-Maid's doing it, the crowd's still going, hey. I like the bass part. Like the little handoff between Miku and Slinky. Oh, Konami's in that, I assume. It's one of the things I like about live. I can hear Miku so much better. This is really interesting. It sounds like Miku's only coming in intermittently there. That fill is so cool. All these rhythmic changes are so fascinating. before you think she's going to. Love that chord change up there. Fake out. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, time to get into some comparisons and contrasts. So I'm going to be taking this in some very bite-sized sections because this song is, as I should expect with Band-Maid by this point, they have such interesting nuances to the song that, like, just kind of trying to do a whole review just off the top of my head is not going to really do the song justice. So, starting with the intro, logical place to start. I was wondering why, like, I was having such a hard time following it at first. Why I was like, oh, why am I, like, doing the hey at the wrong part? Because, like, usually you get the pattern of, like, boom, hey, 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 and it's like maybe on the fourth run through, you've got, like, some sort of, new alternative transition sort of riff, or they might just go hey 4 times and keep this, the same pattern and repeat it 4 times. Band-Maid defies expectations, and that they do. So the intro riff on Konami's guitar, goes like 4 measures, and then once Akane and Misa and Miku and Saiki come in for the next set of measures, they only do that riff 3 times, which is interesting. Well, they only do 3 measures, I should say. So they do the riff twice and then the transition riff, and then they go back into doing it 4. So it's kind of weird. And I'm like, there's a hey missing here. Why is there a hey missing? Because they took out a whole measure. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they did that. And it's one of those things that really kind of throws you for a loop, and then you're like, oh, this isn't just going to kind of go the cookie cutter I can't speak. Cookie cutter pattern. Try saying that 10 times fast. Cookie cutter pattern. Cookie cutter pattern. Cookie cutter pattern. Whatever. Anyway, so they do that. So 4 measures, 3 measures, 4 measures of the intro, which is kind of interesting. One of the differences I noted between the intro in the studio and the intro in the live version is that Miku doesn't come in on the guitar, which in the studio version, I hear Konami records Miku's guitar parts so far as we're aware of, but for Miku's guitar part, even though Konami's playing it, you can hear Miku's part come in. But like in the live version, she's not playing guitar at all. She's just focused on amping up the crowd, which is interesting because either she doesn't come in or they have Konami's guitar, her part, I should gotta specify, her part is panned center, whereas in the live version it's panned all the way to the right. And so when Misa and Akane come in, and then Saiki and Miku on vocals, I hear only the guitar here, and this side is like, well, the bass, Misa's bass is in both ears, but then guitar is just on one side, so it feels a little off balance. Whereas in the studio version, it's panned center, so you can hear the guitar in both sides. So I thought that was interesting, and I don't know if it's just because Miku's like she just doesn't do that part in the studio, or if and Konami just handles that whole thing, or if Miku just kind of cuts out and is like, my job here is just to help amp up the crowd. So interesting note from all that just from the intro. So time to get into the verse next, and I'll be listening to that a few times over before I get into that part. Okay, so for the verse then, I liked Misa's little transition part, like having the spotlight on her there, and between the studio version and the live, it sounded like the tone was roughly the same. Sometimes I've noticed that Misa's bass can be a different tone depending on whether it's the studio recording or the live, and but here it seems like the tone's roughly consistent, but she just sounds a little bit more present in the mix in the live version, and just a bit louder. And then going into the verse, like I love kind of the syncopation in the guitar riffs, because it sounds like I haven't looked at the sheet music and haven't like tried to tab this out to figure out exactly how accurate this is, but it feels very syncopated. It almost seems like the only thing that hits the downbeat is, well, the chord on the downbeat, and then everything else is just kind of like in between the beats, and so it really contributes to that groovy feel of the song in general, really. And then in the pre-chorus too, one thing that I wouldn't have picked up on in the studio version is that in the live version, they pan over to show Konami and Miku singing, and you have like this little vocal exchange back and forth and handoff between Miku, Konami, and Psyche, and so then like it's not something I would have picked up on just listening to the studio version. So being able to see that live was really kind of helpful to kind of see that little exchange happening. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. Alright, so getting into the chorus, I like too that Konami has this really kind of almost classic guitar solo sounding transition to get into the chorus too. That is a nice little touch. And then something I forgot to mention earlier, I was testing out on the guitar the chord progression and the tuning and stuff, and it sounds like it's in drop C sharp, and like I wanted to say that it was in drop C sharp because it sounded lower, but then again I made that mistake on previous reactions, so hey. So I thought I'd refrain from commenting until I actually got to try it out. So drop C sharp, and that explains the first chord in the chorus. It just feels deep and very wide and full. I love that feeling, and that comes a lot of times from like good bass tone, but also like drop tunes, and I just love the fullness of that. It's very satisfying. So then I had to listen to that chorus multiple times because there's so many twists and turns, and it's like the chord progression is different depending on which section of the chorus you're in. So I measured it off as 4 measures, then another 4 measures of conventional chorus, and even within those 2 blocks of 4 measures, the chord progression's different in each of them. Even though they both start off on the open C sharp power chord, but then comes the next set of 4 measures, which gets really staccato, really punchy, and like hitting on the off beats, not the downbeats, but like the spaces in between. And then is another 4 measures of, again, what I call conventional chorus, where I think it's a repeat of the first set of 4, from what it sounds like. And then there's like this 1 measure transition, and then you've got like this triplet, boom, and I don't even think that it comes up to a full 4, even 4 count. I think they might have gone to like a 3/4 or something there. So it really, really different, all these different changes to the chorus. It's like it's never a repeat almost. So it's just it took me some time to like really listen to that a few times to like go, what is actually happening here? And yet they're able to keep the groove, like this heavy but groovy sense to it, even when they're kind of like doing some of those little jabby points. Really fascinating to just try and listen through that and try to break that down, because there's so many variations. All right, so coming out of the first chorus and back into like the next set where you've got the repeat of the intro, the second verse, and the pre-chorus. Like, the way that they end with the chorus with just kind of that held out chord, just kind of makes it sound like you probably you could have sort of like ended the song there. It kind of has that feel like down and down, woo, rock on. But they're not content to end it there, so they go right back into the intro riff, and they keep that same thing where they do like the set of 3 measures, where it's like you got 2 haze, and then like the transition riff, and then they do the conventional 4 measure set before they go back into the verse, which seems roughly similar. Notice some pinch harmonics in there, which were pretty sweet. I like that little touch. And then another thing I didn't notice the first time that was still present in the first verse, as well, more of the pre-chorus actually, the first pre-chorus, is that they're really good at using chromaticism to get outside of the scale, but to transition to like the next chord within the scale that they're working with. So it sounds like sounds sort of bluesy, maybe a little Phrygian, but then there's parts where it even defies that by getting chromatic from going, like if you're doing power chords up on the lowest strings, you're going like 10, and instead of like 10-8, you're doing 10-9-8. So really, really nice use of chromaticism in the pre-chorus. Okay, so there wasn't much to add to the second chorus that wasn't in the first chorus, at least from what I noticed anyway. So getting into the bridge and the solo, they have the open, held out chord, like they did in the first time, but then they kind of go into this clean part, and Konami does this clean portion, and then the rest of the band, Miku, Akane, and Misa, kind of start punching in with some heavier stuff. But the one thing, if there was anything that was a little less than satisfying, was that transition from the second chorus into the bridge. The open chord just felt a little light. Some other songs that I've heard that have that sort of transition where it's just an open chord going into the next section, and they kind of maybe go into a clean portion. Like, I kind of want the clean to emerge from that distorted, held out chord. Whereas they almost ducked it too early, at least for my personal taste anyway. And so like the clean guitar was much more audible earlier, which I kind of just wish it was a little bit more of like it was kind of coming out of the that chord versus just being right there right away. So that's the only thing that I think I really didn't care for with the song. And then you get into these kind of this heavy build-up. And one of the things that I didn't expect that was pretty sweet was Konami started the solo before she, like, you would expect her to start the solo. It was like quite a bit of a long transition, and like the solo to me kind of sounded like if like a classic rock solo and a Slipknot solo came in and like merged together. It was very unique. You had these very classic elements, but you also had some of these like these death metal solo sort of influences as well. So it was a very unique combination. You had several things go outside of like the normal scale that you would typically follow, which, you know, you should to kind of spice up the solo, but like it was very, like the deviations from the scale that they were playing in were very prominent and very frequent. So I thought that was kind of so it was a very, very unique solo. All right, so last section, final chorus. So most of the final chorus was similar, but the one thing that really threw me listening to it, and still throws me even on subsequent listens, is on that second set of 4 measures. Okay, so in the first set they kind of go open chord up to the major or minor 7th. So if you're playing like the first 3 strings on the guitar, you're going 0 to 10, and then on the second set of 4 measures they do 0 3, so like open then up a minor 3rd, and then but in this final chorus they go only up a whole step on that second set of 4 measures, which I thought was like, it's such a cool twist. It in a way sounds like while they were rehearsing it or writing it, someone made a mistake and was just like, oh shoot, I was supposed to go up like 1 more half step, and they're like, no, stick with that sounded cool, we're going with that. It's such a attention grabbing twist, because you think with the first 2 choruses being you know, carbon copies of each other, at least as far as I could perceive anyway, that twist kind of prevents you from kind of going into like getting complacent with the chorus. It's just like, all right, we're throwing in a twist and we're making sure you do not zone out. So that was a nice twist to that in the chord progression. And then getting out of the final chorus, instead of kind of having that open chord, they just cut that out, go straight into the main riff, and then finish with the intro. Same thing where they got the sets of 3 and then the sets of 4 measures. But then one of the other cool little things that I noticed right at the end is that Misa's bass just kind of like hangs on a little longer than everyone else. Like, you know, the drum kind of does a little fill at the end, the guitar kind of goes boom, but like Misa's bass just holds on for just a moment longer, like maybe just a beat longer. So it's just kind of like, now I want to keep going. Oh, we're done? Oh, okay, we're done. So I thought that was kind of a cool little detail, and they kept that in the studio recording and the live. It wasn't like one of those things where it's like, oh no, shoot, I held that out a little too long, sorry guys, whoops. It was like, no, that was intentional. So I thought that was interesting. But that's all I could really pick up on from this. It was really, I love going through these compares and contrasts, because it is a really, really good exercise for me to like think about scales and rhythm, and it just really kind of helps me expand, you know, my musical knowledge. And I don't think I could even touch the level of brilliance that you need to be able to manufacture one of these songs with all the nuance that they have. I am sure I'm missing a ton of different things that they threw in there intentionally to be like, let's see who the real musicians are. The real musicians pick up on some of these things, and I'm probably missing most of those things. So, but it's still such a great exercise to go through this, and so like I'm grateful that you guys suggested this and all these different Band-Maid songs, because of how much cool nuance they have and how much it gets me to like exercise my brain. So thank you guys. But that is it for this video. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on all notifications so that you don't miss anything going forward. Leave a vote in the comments letting me know which Band-Maid song you'd like to see next, or if there's another band you'd like me to check out. Leave it in the comments and I will give you a shout out whenever I end up doing that video. Like I said in the intro here, there was it was very, very close between quite a few different songs. So like, you know, any push for any of those will certainly get that as the next week's reaction. Also, if you have any suggestions for guitar covers or vocal covers, leave those in the comments, and like I do with the reactions, we'll give you a shout out when I do those. Also, I want to thank BM for Life and Jonas S for supporting me on Patreon. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That is it for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you, and rock on.